Well, the first live action Garfield movie was a big hit despite it got dissed and what have you. What about its sequel? Is it really worse than its predecessor? What I mean? Well, yes and no. I'm kind of mixed on it after revisiting. So here it is. Here's my review of Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Dual, better known to as Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2006 comedy flick Garfield: A Tale, T-A-I-L, of Two Kitties, released by Fox, directed by Tim Hill, written by Joe Cohen and Alex Sokolow. The sole sequel to Garfield the movie, and a loose remake of Mark Twain's 1881 novel The Prince and the Pauper. Breckin Meyer, Jennifer Love Hewitt return as John and Liz, while Bill Murray reprises the role as the voice of our favorite lasagna loving fat cat. This also includes Billy Connolly, Ian Abercrombie, Roger Rees, Lucy Davis, and Oliver Muirhead in live action roles, along with the voices of Tim Curry, Bob Hoskins, Rhys Ifans, Vinnie Jones, Joe Pasquale, Richard E. Grant, and Jane Leeves as the voices of the film's new animal characters. Now, in the film, Garfield, Odie, Liz, and John travel to the UK, that's the United Kingdom, where Prince, another cat that looks exactly like Garfield, is ruling over a castle after the death of his owner. His reign is soon jeopardized by an evil aristocrat who plans to remodel the castle into condominiums, destroy the estate, and get rid of Prince. The film was released on June 16, 2006, which was 2 years after its predecessor. While it may have gone distant, but it did okay, but not as much as its predecessor, though. Now, if you have not seen my review of the first Garfield film, check it out by clicking that card, and it'll take you to my Garfield movie review in case you might have missed it, or if you would like to see it again. Here we go. 2 years after the events of the first film, John Arbuckle plans to propose to his girlfriend, veterinarian Dr. Elizabeth Liz Wilson, who is going on a business trip to London. So John follows her to the UK as a surprise. After escaping from the kennel, John's pets Garfield and Noe sneak into John's luggage and join him on the trip. Garfield and Noe break out of the room of the hotel they visit due to boredom and subsequently get lost in the streets of London. Meanwhile, at Carlisle Castle in the English countryside, the late Lady Eleanor Carlisle's will is read by the solicitors, Mr. Hobbs, Mr. Green, and Mrs. Whitney. She bequeaths Carlisle Castle to Prince XII, her beloved cat who lives a strong life of luxury and who looks exactly like Garfield. This enrages the lady's greedy nephew, Lord Manfred Dargis, who will now only inherit the grand estate once Prince dies. So he plans to trap Prince, and he does, in a picnic basket and throws him into the river. John finds Prince climbing out of a drain and takes him to the hotel after mistaking him for Garfield, while Prince's butler, Smithy, finds Garfield in the street and takes him to Carlisle's castle, mistaking him for Prince. In the grand estate, Garfield receives a great deal of special treatment from both Smithy and Prince's farm animal followers, led by his loyal dog Majordomo Winston, who convinces his fellow animals to tolerate and protect Garfield in order to prevent Dargis from getting his hands on the estate, which he plans to turn into a resort by demolishing the area and slaughtering them all. With Garfield's presence, Dargis thinks Prince has returned and fears that the solicitors will not sign the estate over to him. He makes many attempts to dispose of Garfield, but fails every time due to the animals interfering. Garfield befriends the animals and teaches them how to make lasagna, while Prince learns how to be an ordinary pet. Despite them both enjoying their new lifestyles, they soon begin to miss their old lives. Garfield, especially after overhearing the animals complaining about his slobby and selfish attitude. Eventually, Garfield and Prince meet each other face to face after both attempting to return to their old lives. Garfield, having understood what is at stake for Prince and its subjects, convinces them to help defeat Dargis. John and Ellie discover the mix-up and go to the castle, which Liz is coincidentally visiting. Alright, now for the ending, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Garfield and Prince taunt Dargis, whose plan is exposed, and the duo are seen by the solicitors. A blunderbuss wielding Dargis barges in, threatening the solicitors if they do not sign the estate over for him, while also taking Liz hostage. A crossbow wielding John attempts to force Dargis to release Liz, only for Dargis to threaten to murder him for getting involved in the first place. Garfield and Prince manage to defeat him as Smitty alerts the authorities and Dargis is arrested. Garfield, who had been trying to stop John from proposing to Liz, has a change of heart. He helps John propose to Liz, and she accepts. End of story. So what did I think of Garfield, A Tale of Two Keys? Well, I am going to say it's fun and all. Well, it's not quite close to as good as its predecessor, but it does have a few fun moments, though. I've only seen this film a couple of times, and not as much as its predecessor, but even so, I think this film is kind of underrated, but I feel like it's fun, though. Well, despite this film got this, though, it sits at 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is 2% lower than its predecessor. Saying strictly for very little kids, the film features skilled voice actors but a plot that holds little interest. It's got a score of 37 on Metacritic, and CinemaScore gave it a B+, just like its predecessor. Variety gave this a good review, saying good case, superior in every way to its underwhelming predecessor. The film is a genuinely clever kid pick that should delight Muppets, please parents, and maybe tickle a few tweens. Yep. Now, Roger Ebert gave it a good review, saying it's actually funnier and more charming than the first film. Well, I kind of do agree, but even though I like the first film a little more, but hey, it's fine and what have you. So anyway, this film got nominated for 2 Razzies for best for worst prequel or sequel and worst excuse for family entertainment, but unfortunately, it lost. Best worst, well, not best. I'm getting this mixed up. Worst prequel or sequel went to Basic Instinct. And worst excuse for family entertainment went to RV. But who cares? I actually liked RV. Don't worry, I am getting a little better over this coughing and what have you. But anyway, this film did have a little bit of fun and what have you, especially with all the farm animals that was around. Well, it wasn't quite as big as well. The film quite didn't quite make as much as didn't quite make as much as its predecessor. It made 141 million worldwide against its $60 million budget, so it was a minor, or should I say, modest success. The studio was aware that the film would not make as much as the first, and only made it because of the worldwide success of the first film. Anyway, I will say Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties. It's a fun little sequel. Well, not quite great though, but still fun though. They have Christoph Beck on board as the score composer again. And there were many pretty good tunes in there as well. There would also be a video game released by the Game Factory. Now, for our cast, we have Breckin Meyer back on board as John. He does an exceptionally good job. and J Love as Liz. She's good as well. Billy Connolly played Lord Dargis. Very not too bad of a villain. Ian Abercrombie played Smithy. Very good. For the listeners, we have Roger Rees as Mr. Hobbs. Actually, the same year this came out, he also appeared in the Pink Panther reboot with Steve Martin. Lucy Davis plays Abby Westminster. Jane Carr played Mrs. Whitney. I think that name sounds familiar. Um, Jane Carr. Oh yes, I remember. I remember her from playing Louise Mercer on TV's Dear John back in the late 80s and early 90s. And Oliver Muirhead played Mr. Green, the fourth solicitor. For our voice acting cast, Bill Murray's still good as Garfield. Voicing Prince the 12th is Tim Curry. I thought that sounded like him, but since that was only the same time I watched this, I knew that was him. He does an exceptionally good job on voicing that character. Bob Hoskins voices Winston. Rhys Ifans voices a Scottish accent Belgian hare named McBunny. Vinnie Jones, whom that same year played Juggernaut in X-Men The Last Stand, voiced Rommel, a Rottweiler, who is Lord Dargis' former companion. And there's a host of others. Joe Pasquale as Claudius, a rat. Greg Ellis voices Nigel, a ferret. Jim Pittock is Bolero, a Spanish flying bull. Richard E. Grant, who recently appeared in some films that I'm familiar with, I'm pretty sure of, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he recently appeared in Spice World and The Little Vampire. He voiced President Scarlet Macaw. And I didn't even know this. The character Christophe, a goose, is voiced by the wife of his Aussiness herself, Sharon! Yeah, Sharon Osbourne herself. And there's many others in Jane Leeves as a duck named Eenie, and Jane Horrocks as another duck named Meanie. And Roscoe Lee Brown is our narrator. Yeah, he passed away the following year, as a matter of fact. He appeared in numerous TV series in the 70s and 80s, as well as the John Wayne 1972 feature, The Cowboys. So, anyway, the cast is pretty good. So, and the story isn't too bad. I mean, you might have a little fun with this film if you like the first Garfield film. So, anyway, well, this wasn't as big as its predecessor, but it's still fine and what have you. Maybe not quite as good as the first, but still, it is fun though. So overall, would I recommend Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties? Well, I'd say just to be on the safe side, give it a one-time watch. If you're not satisfied, don't bother with it again. Now, I forgot to point out both this and its predecessor are currently available to stream on Disney Plus, so you can check them out there. Anyway, so what did you think of Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties? Let me know in the comments section below. If you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And stay tuned for my Saturday morning TV log of Garfield and Friends coming up tomorrow morning. So if you like this, you may want to consider checking out some of these other films. I'll give you my reviews of these two films that were actually done with a little bit of British and Scottish type characters, you know. The upper left-hand corner is my review of Peter Rabbit. The upper right-hand corner is my review of its sequel, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. Or you can check out my review of another film that got live-action animation hype break, that being The Smurfs from 2011. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.